Good morning, sunshine.
Good morning. Look at that. I'm the first one here.
Look at you, rock star. That's awesome. Yep.
So,
All right, let's dig into today. I'm so excited. So the first thing I want to do is, and this came out of this whole week's conversations. It was kind of reverberating back in my brain over what I wanted to talk about today. And I just kind of went over the whole week's conversations and I'm like, yep, this is what I want to talk about. So the first thing I want to do is I want you guys to, if you're not driving and nobody looks like they're driving, although Kimberly might be, if you're not driving, just like close your eyes and picture yourself walking down a street that's really familiar, that you know this street and you're really comfortable in this street and it's somewhere in your town where you know people and it's just very, very comfortable street. And then you see somebody on the other side of the street that you know that's a friend of yours and you wave and you're like, hey, and there's nothing. And they see you, but they don't respond. So I want you to notice your feelings on that one. All right. So come back to me. What kinds of feelings or what do you feel like inside?
Confused, questioning.
Betrayed.
Confused. What else?
Betrayed.
What was that? Drained?
Betrayed.
Right. Okay. Confused, betrayed,
Rejected.
rejected, hurt. Yep.
Questioning was the other part of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And then concern for the other person.
Secondary. Right. Yeah. Yep.
Right.
But the first one is the hurt and everything. Okay. And when I do it, I notice like how your body kind of wants to feel or go, or the position your body wants to go into, kind of this thing, right? An inner, shoulders in, down, like protecting your chest kind of a thing. Okay. So now I want you guys to do the complete opposite. And I want you physically to do it. And that is to take up space. Chest out, arms back, head up a little bit. Just take up some space. Kick back if you want to. Take up space. And while you're taking up this space, I want you to notice kind of how you feel inside and kind of what the feelings are, emotions are that are going on inside of you as you just take up space. Take up as much as you want. It's your space. It's all yours. Okay. What are you feeling?
it's always all my space. I live alone.
Me too at the moment.
Rub it in, guys. Rub it in.
That's all right, Brie. I've got animals.
I
Replace
got
your
that
kids.
too. We even have a rat thing. A
Oh my
possum rat thing with no tail.
Ooh,
Terrible.
As a pet.
A hamster. Hey, rats with no tails are hamsters.
Hamster.
yeah.
Yeah.
Our thing like that escaped and got in the trap in the basement. She didn't do those anymore.
All right, so back to how do you guys feel when you're taking up a lot of space? Like what kind of
Full.
feelings you get?
Oh,
Full.
a part of everything.
A part of it. Oh, connected.
Mhm.
Nice. Okay. What else we got out there?
Supported.
Oh, I like that. That's really an interesting one. That's cool. Liz, I think I saw you coming off too. Nope. Okay. This came to me and reminded me so much. I worked for I come from a family of people that are like massively interested in power and, you know, con artists and horse thieves, basically is what I've always said, but they always are hyper aware of power structure, who has the power in the room, how you gain power in a room, those kinds of things. And I didn't realize that I grew up in a family that had that bend until I got out of it and then could look back and go, well, that's interesting. And I'm kind of glad for the stuff that they taught me. But I remember the first day I walked into new construction. I worked for a new construction builder. It was the first day they were going to have a meeting, and which they did every week. And it's my first day of meeting everybody, my first day on the job. And I walked into this conference room, second floor of a building, and it's early on like a Tuesday morning. And there's half a dozen people sitting around, all girls sitting around, and they're all other agents and then the broker. And they're all very much like this. And they're not talking, they're not interacting, and their body language is down and their heads are down. And this is not like phones weren't a thing. So it's not like we're all on our phones, right? They were just down and in and tiny. And I walked into this room and there's only 2 seats available that are left. One's at the head of the table, and it's my first day, and one's right next to the head of the table. And I am not so ballsy as to sit at the head of the table my first day, right? Because I'm not that ballsy. But I sat in the only other chair that was available, which is clearly right next to Mr. Power Chair that's going to be walking in. And I remember just looking around this room and I was like, hell no, I am not doing that. And so I sat back and I put my arm on the back of the power chair that I knew was coming in, and I just waited. And I mean, I did that whole, what do they call it now? They call it man spreading is what they call it actually. But I did that whole thing where I just took up as much space as possible. And the guy walked in, and then I sat back, and I purposely made sure I was sitting tall, but back in my chair and up and right there, right? And I watched him go around that room and just lay into every single person there. Never said a word to me. I never said a word to anybody else. Like I never talked. I just listened and watched what was going on. And I remember thinking, hell no, you are never doing that to me. You are never doing that to me. And the interesting thing was I worked there for a year. He never did anything to me, ever. We had a good relationship. He was hard as hell to work with, in that you had to be perfect, because if you screwed up anything, you had to pay for it out of your pocket, out of your side of the commission. And so that's where I learned, and I'm very grateful, because I learned to never screw up a contract. Like, you went over that contract with a fine tooth comb. It was not your flipping problem. If something happened, it was somebody else's, because it wasn't coming out of my paycheck. And we just had this, we had a good relationship. We really did. Now, do I admire him? He built a good product. Interpersonal relationships sucked. And for a multitude of reasons, he hired the wrong people, and then it just was self-perpetuating. It was a mess. But there was something about, I believe, the fact that I would not do this. I'm not going to. You're going to talk to me like an equal, because we are an equal. That I think was very different. And I ended up, that's the place where I ended up doing, I was their top salesperson. I was brand new, so I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I outsold their top agent 2-to-1. And I did not have problems with him. We met head to head. We had one issue one time where we were doing reports, and I started in on this report, and he was like, I was talking about a builder that built very high end, and he goes, but and I'm like, and like I was saying, and I continued straight on, which actually proved the point that he was talking about. And then at the end of that, he was like, you guys need to do your reports like Gina did. It's like, yes. There's something about that confidence thing. And it's not that I really, well, I'm not going to be intimidated like that. It was more of that. It wasn't like I walked in and was like, I'm going to, I'm the this and that and all of the others. It was just like, you're not treating me like whatever's going on in this room, that's not going to happen. And I'm not going to stay if that's how you treat me. Right. So I never had experience. But anyway, so, and then from there, I read this thing about lobsters, which is really kind of interesting. So I know it seems like I have a point to this, I promise. So lobsters, these ancient creatures, and if you believe in Darwin, and I don't, but if you follow it, they're older than trees. I mean, they've just been around for, however many years lobsters have been around. And they live in a very dominant society. And there's always, in a lobster colony, I guess, I don't know what you call a group of lobsters, there's always a dominant lobster, and that dominant lobster is like this, and he walks around like this all the time, and he's like pinch, 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 and that's Mr. Dominant Lobster. And as what always happens in dominant societies, if another lobster comes along who is bigger and stronger and attacks Mr. Dominant Lobster and beats him, Mr. Dominant Lobster, who has a Mr. Dominant Lobster brain, and their brain releases different chemicals, and it's a dominant brain, literally skulks away, and their brain turns to mush. And a new brain grows that is different.
Wow.
Damn, exactly. Now here's the thing. If you take two lobsters and this one just won the battle, this one should, but it always does, like skulk away, and their brain turns to mush and they grow a new brain. But if you inject serotonin into this lobster, which is the same thing that happens when we take antidepressants, or when we, serotonin, that's that hormone. Yeah, happy hormone. When you put it into the lobster, he comes back out again, he comes back like this again, and he'll go after it again. he will go try and conquer again, right? And human beings have the same physical, and our brains don't turn to mush. But if you
Goodness.
had, okay, hang on, if you're ADHD, possibly it does. If, if you have had trauma or really, really rough things happen, what does happen is the hippocampus shrinks and the amygdala grows. The amygdala feels emotion, and a group of lobsters is called a pod. Thank you, darling. It's a tide pod.
Good one.
Thank you. Don't eat it. Do eat the lobsters. And that's worth it. All right. So the amygdala, it grows and the hippocampus shrinks. The amygdala feels emotions and the hippocampus regulates emotions. And so trauma brains, traumatic, massively stressed out brains, the physiologically, your brain changes. It absolutely changes where that amygdala grows and the hippocampus shrinks. Unless you think that this is a cool thing because you're feeling more emotions, the emotions that you're feeling are fear, anxiety, depression. It's this. It makes you want to do this. And you have less ability, especially while you're in the trauma or the depression or the bad time where you've been beaten or whatever. It doesn't, the hippocampus regulates it. So you feel more of the bad stuff and you can't regulate it as well. And the interesting thing, I'm reading the sidebars down there. The interesting thing was when you come out of that space and you begin to get healthy and strong again, the amygdala or the hippocampus will regrow again, and it can regrow again and regenerate and get increase back in size again. But the flipping amygdala never will. It will never shrink back down again, ever. And anybody that's been through some really bad stuff knows that at that point, you're much more aware of what bad things could happen. You just are. You're much more aware of what bad things could happen. You do learn to be able to regulate that better, but you're much more aware of it. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because last week, the theme that I noticed in our conversations there were a few, but one of them was confidence. And one of them was confidence and self-loving and being able to go accomplish those things, and how much this group encourages and enables and lifts us up so that we can do that stuff. And yet there's this underwriting current underneath of, and it's not with everybody, but I just noticed it kind of kept on coming out and coming out, that we don't feel it inside. We don't feel it inside. Yeah, well, me. That's what I'm dealing with as I'm doing with all this. So I went to Harvard. I didn't go to Harvard and graduate college, or didn't graduate high school, much less go to Harvard. I went to Harvard online and I ran across an article and I really liked it because I was starting to dig around some stuff today of how do we gain this confidence, knowing that our posture has a lot to do with it, knowing what happens to our brain physiologically, like how do we do this? How do we gain this confidence? So here's what they said. And I'm like, yep, I think this is true. And by the way, this is after a week, this past week, where I have been like, damn the torpedoes, minimum wage, people at Indeed who put me in jail. Your will is not going to prevail over mine. It is not flipping happening. I'm going to tear you apart, kick you out, do whatever it is I have to do. And I keep on inching one step closer to getting out of the stupid Indeed jail. So here's what they say. The first thing, learn something new. What happens when you learn new things is you create new synapses in your brain, and creating those new synapses in your brain means that your brain starts to connect together over and over in different places, and then different things will connect together in some other arena for you. You'll learn this thing over here and you're going to go, holy crap, that applies to this over here. So number one to gain confidence is learn something new. And what I'll do is, I'm just going to share these and then I'll just take your thoughts afterwards. We'll do that. Number two, look good. So for the past month, maybe-ish, I've been like, get your ass up early enough to put on makeup, girl. Like, just look good. And there's a confidence that comes with that when we do the things that make us feel like we look good. Number 3, identify what it is that makes you feel confident. So for me personally, I feel confident when my weight is where I want it to be or it's heading that direction. So the little step that I took was 11 days ago now, I gave up sugar. And I've done sugar, I've given up sugar all the time in my life. I typically make it 2 or 3 days and then I'm like, screw that and I'll eat something. And I was really encouraged because I have a friend of mine that not an alcoholic, but they gave up drinking and they're like at 52 days. I think I just talked to them yesterday. I think it was 51. So they're at like 52 days. And I was like, well, if they can do that and they don't even have a problem where they need to give it up, I sure as heck can give up sugar because I don't need to give it up, but it would be good for me to give it up. And I feel better. Like I feel really good about it. I was looking in the morning in the mirror. I was looking in the mirror this morning and I'm like, I'm not as puffy as I was. I'm like, I feel good about that. So I identified what made me feel confident and I'm doing it. My baby steps on that one. Number 4, physical challenge of some sort. So for me, my physical challenge is that I found out I was going in, I worked out twice a week and I was going in a half hour early and I was doing the recumbent bike. And then the trainer and the doctor said, do not do the bike. Cause I was finding after I did the bike, I pushed the bike really hard. I put it up as hard as I could do it. Right. I kept on every time I went, I pushed it up harder and harder and harder. And I couldn't walk for like 2 days afterwards. And they're like, bike is bad for you. So now I'm on the elliptical. And now I'm just pushing myself as hard as I can on the elliptical. And so my goal is to get it up as high as it can. I am not there yet. And then for a half hour straight, I am not there yet. And to get my heart rate up to, I'm supposed to get my personal heart rate supposed to be between 110 and 135. So 110 is a piece of cake. I really want to get it to 135 for the whole entire time. That's my goal. So those are my challenges. And then it's just the little tiny, like mini goals all along the way. So each time it's moving up one more level on the rampy thingy. I don't know how high the rampy thingy goes, but whatever. It's keep on moving it up, 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 up. So it's physically challenge yourself. Number 5, connections. Connections with conversations, because the conversations that are around you all the time, just like this conversation is around you all the time, are the conversations that become you. So connections. And number 6, something that really challenges you or scares you. And this one, I feel like it should be in, for me personally, is in work. So for me, my guy wants me to get on stage and talk on stage, and it doesn't really scare me, but it does challenge me because I need to get a solid 20-minute, completely extemporaneously speaking. I don't like having notes on any level. I like just talking. So I need a 20-minute TED Talk. I need to build my 20-minute TED Talk. And that's a challenge because I got to sit down and put it together about what it is and how I want it to do it without having my cheat sheet of notes like I have today. Right. So a straight 20. All right. So any thoughts on that whole big thing that I gave you guys? Learn some. Okay. So we'll start at the top. Posture down and how you feel, open posture and how you feel, a lobster's brain with hippocampus shrinking and amygdala growing and it turning to mush and serotonin getting in them where they're like this again and they Mr. Lobster again. And then you build confidence, according to Harvard U, by learning something new, identifying what makes you feel confident, looking good, physically challenging yourself, connections with good conversations, and work that scares or challenges you. Doing something that makes you, that is outside your comfort zone. Your turn.
And I would add, when you have this confidence, continue it even when those around you are doubting it.
Oh, that's so good. Because that's part of what I'm closing with. I circle around to something like that. That's really good.
Because I'm finding myself having to have that in spite of my surroundings. Like when I wait tables, like I'm constantly told you're overqualified, you're great, you're doing this. But then when I build those connections and engage my table, the servers are jealous because I'm a server's assistant. So,
Oh.
and so the guests are engaging more with me than them because they're about as engaging as a serrated knife, a dull serrated knife. So I've got to really get my head across of, while I'm in this position, don't engage, to not piss them off, but not lose me, and put myself in a situation to where I can engage. So I'm going to continue to have my confidence. I'm going to strategize where I can be my most authentic, confident self.
Is this the same place that you're learning how to be a wine person?
Yes. So now I have a target on my back because I pointed out a server who cheated me out of my money, was very disrespectful. The one that was like, stay in your lane, you talk back, things like that. So he said that in response to the fact that he lied, but was trying to figure out to justify why it was okay.
I see.
So, but it's politics, and I've got to remember to not let that put down my confidence. What I need to do to
Wants to do.
to keep the job for now, because I need the benefits, but to explore areas to where I can be my most authentic, confident self and be appreciated.
I'll never forget one time that Greg has this person that really dislikes him, a childhood friend, and really dislikes him. And he came online, he said horrible stuff about me. And it really hurt me. He said horrible stuff about the kids and I. He doesn't even know us. It was right after Greg and I were first married. And Greg looked at me and he was like, he wants to hurt you. Don't let. That's what he wants. Do not let him win. And that was really the key, because it'd been festering for a while back there. But this guy was horrible. And there's part of me that wanted to go like hunt him down and shoot him, And he's like, don't let him win. And it just kind of rang in my ears for a little bit of, you're right, that's what he wants. And you don't get a win at that. You don't get to, you small person. Yeah. So thanks, Bree. All right. What else are you guys thinking about this, or anything that's ringing true or hitting a reverberating back around in your brains?
I just want to say thank you guys. And I hope it reciprocated that you allow me to be my authentic, confident self. And I want to be a part of an environment that you guys feel comfortable being your confident, authentic self.
Yeah. I know. I couldn't have worded it better myself, huh? That was good, Bree. Oh. Hi, Christopher.
She's got the lucky head.
Yeah.
Oh,
Say hi.
Hi. What a cutie. That's the kind of confidence we have. Yeah, exactly. When we were that age. All right.
awesome.
I think that I didn't have any issues with confidence at all until somewhere around 6th or 7th grade.
That would make sense, because all of a sudden we're very aware socially. Yeah, okay.
No, this was family related. It was my dad that squished it.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Out of the book. You're right. It was.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
And-
even so, like I put in the comments, I'm sure I probably have, done this, but I don't remember doing that. Even when I don't feel confident or I'm uncomfortable in a situation, I think it's more like this.
Well,
I
yeah, you're
back off and put space.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a classic. There's the S personality, the solid, stable, reliable, responsible, secure, wants security, heart person, and that's their classic response. They just back up. They just back way up.
Kind of like when I go into those, go into those kind of situations where there's lots of people and stuff. I want to be back on the sideline watching. I don't try to go out into the middle of it all.
My husband taught me when there's a lot of people in a crowd, he grabs my arm and he pulls in real close like this, so we're two people close together, and then we plow through. And he said, watch this. And he's so right. When you do that with somebody else, the crowds part. They just part. It's flipping amazing. He's like, come here.
Well,
Like,
I'll go through them to get somewhere. No problem.
Yep.
I'm the size of two people. How come they don't part for me?
You just need me by you. We'll go like this together, PF. All right. Any other thoughts around anything about building confidence or anything that you guys like, yeah, I want to go bring one of these into my life, the learning or how it has worked for you maybe in the past to do one of those.
Did it
All
say-
of it.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was saying all of it.
Yeah, me too.
I think that I've heard, at least in whatever, somewhere, all of this, except for maybe, I don't know that I remember hearing the physical challenge, or that's probably one I don't remember hearing. But then the next one would be something that really challenges or scares you. And I'm wondering if this is a sequential kind of thing, or you do them all together, or what the article may have said.
No, it didn't. It just said do these things. It didn't say altogether sequential or whatever.
So like you're building on it.
Yeah, I feel like, and this is just me suppositioning. I feel like you do one, you pick one, and then when you go and start to feel really good because you start to experience some success on that thing, it makes you naturally want to go do another thing or another thing. That's what I feel like. Because I mean, I just sat down with this, but I was like, okay, so I gave up sugar 11 days ago. I had to push myself on the elliptical and change machines about 10 days ago. The conversations around me, that has been, I keep on hearing that conversation about the conversations that I've heard like 3 times recently, like in the past week. And so it's making me aware of those. And then the work challenge thing is because, and learning something new is what I've been in the middle of since I've been launching the book, and I have to figure out how to build a webinar and, and build a sales funnel, all that kind of stuff. So and that's been going on for months. So I feel like you hit all of it, but I don't think it's been, for me, it's not been a deliberate thing. I didn't know, I've just been taking on one and then the other, and doing the book has been the thing that's forcing me, was probably the initial impetus to force me into a new direction of growth. And then the rest of it spun off of that.
It's kind of funny that you brought all these things up and pulled them, because as I read through these, there's certainly ones that I find myself that I've either done or realized, like, but then other ones that I'm certainly not very good at. I guess I feel like I need to look at the last one, in terms of what that may look like. And I know that I not here, obviously, but in other places tend to not do 5 as well either. The connections and conversations, not, except for superficially, not anything meaningful. And I think that means meaningful, not on the other way around.
Right. For me, it does too. Maybe it doesn't for everybody, but for me, it does mean good, meaningful, or at least good, uplifting conversation. Even though a good, meaningful conversation can pierce different parts of my heart, that's still good too. You know what I mean? But there's a difference. You know, with your background, when a conversation, you just instinctively know. Because why? Because the flipping amygdala is bigger now. That's why I know. All right. So go ahead.
I have a request based on what Kathy just said. You actually just exposed me, you know how they say blind spots, you don't know what you don't know until. So Kathy, you just like put a big spotlight on a blind spot for me, which is When I hear that list,
Mhm.
so this is like coaching request for Gina, and maybe like add it to that curriculum. The points. When I hear all the points, it's like I have to hit all of them in order to feel that I have accomplished something, that I'm making progress. But maybe there is some kind of like balance. There is a wave that we're traversing
Yeah.
throughout the day, and we're not at 10 in all those things. Maybe our confidence is, sorry about the bell, is my Ring camera connected to the computer. So maybe it's okay to be at 10 on confidence, but at 1 on learning something new. You're kind of like moving along. But I don't know, maybe you could talk me through, Gina, talk us through, and maybe add something to those points, that it's okay not to have them all at the same time. It's like you could be working on them as time goes on. I don't know.
Good. I don't know about you, but I don't feel like I'm nailing 10s across the board.
Mm-mm.
I don't even know the last time if I ever thought I was nailing 10s. I don't feel like that. I feel like there's maybe in really, really, really good times, I feel like I'm hitting some 10s here. But if I really stepped and examined my life, I'd be like, yeah, but you're not doing this. We're human beings. We're just people, and we can't hit 10s on everything. And I think that for me, I think what I've experienced is if I just take one step in one arena somewhere, that will start to build, and the other stuff just starts to slowly unfold in other arenas where I'm like, okay, I'm feeling really good over here. And this is subconsciously, this is not on a conscious level.
Right.
I'm feeling good over here. I think I would like to go do this. And then later on, reflecting back, oh, that's what's going on. You're hitting this other arena too. Because I didn't realize I was pushing on all these fronts. I'm not there and I'm not tense. I'm just pushing, right? So I didn't realize I was pushing all these fronts until I sat down and put the list together. And then I think it was Kathy that, I don't know, somebody that's when I realized the learning something new. If there was going to be an impetus for this push in my life, it would be that book. And that was months ago that I started that process. Months. And I just gave up sugar 11 days ago. Yeah. So it's not, I don't think, I don't know. That's been my experience. My experience is just go do one thing because it's going to unlock and encourage and make you want, it's going to open up other doors, and you don't know what the doors are. It just will. It just does.
I feel like that probably nobody ever is a 10 all the way across the board. Nobody. And if they are, they're lying.
Or they're an evil something, or you know what I mean? Or they're insane. Maybe insane people have it. I don't know. Okay, hang on. Has anybody in this room ever felt like they're pushing on a 10 in every single arena in their life? Like they are nailing everything perfectly for an extended period of time?
No.
No, thank God. Because whoever you are, I would like to know what you're doing. I don't think anybody is, Kathy. I think you're right. Yep.
So I'm curious, I kind of think in looking at this and just all the different paths and thoughts and stuff that I've been ongoing having things with, is there anybody that wants to share or can tell me what their one thing in this kind of list that they need to work on that will help work on everything else? Because I kind of already do.
Ooh, what's yours, Kathy? What's your one thing?
A while ago, and I'm not there. A while ago, I figured out that I'm fairly heavy. If you look at the charts, I'm obese. And whether that's good, bad, or indifferent, because my body shape doesn't always convey that. I think that that's my way of cowering back.
Mhm.
I feel like if I get physically so that I look good, and I don't think that dressing good necessarily makes you look good. I think you can look good in a pair of ripped jeans just as well as a business suit. But for me, it sort of bolsters the lack of self-confidence because I'm this fat person, and I don't really worry about the physical challenges, but certainly there has to be physical challenges along with all that. And it lets me stay off on the sideline and not converse with people and make meaningful conversations or relationships.
Mhm.
You know?
I agree with you as far as my world has been that way also. It's the exact same thing that I do. I use my weight as a shield and then I carry behind it and then I don't do the things because I don't feel the confidence and and I know that, and that's why it's part of why I give up sugar also, because I want an easy way to kind of address it, because I know that that will slowly address it anyway, and it has a little bit. I also, every day I look in the mirror and I say, I am 5 pounds thinner than myself. I don't say that. I say, so right now I look in the mirror and I say, and I'm just going to say it. I say, I weigh 180 pounds. And that's what I say. And then once I get down to that, I'm going to say, I weigh 175 pounds. And I just tell myself the lie, and I don't care.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I weighed this morning at 172.2.
Well, there you go. So I lie to myself because I know that if I say that, and so the other day at the doctor's, I'm like, yeah, weigh 185 or 180, sorry, weigh 180. Because I know that I will start to just do the things to do to get there, because my brain is like, well, you already do this. So you have to do it now because it's true. So let's go make it true. So that's my trick that I've been using. So anyway, I totally hear you though. I really do. So does anyone else have a one thing that they are like, yeah, this is my one thing on this that I want to do, that I'm willing to do, that I'm actually looking forward to doing on some level, and I'm going to do for my confidence?
I think for me, it's I have protruding confidence until it comes to business, and I don't have the meaningful conversations to get business. I'm good at meeting people, but not at telling them what I do and asking for the business, or even and my confidence goes down when I need to cold call or prospecting calls. When I do it, I feel good. When I don't, I feel, like that cowering down type thing. And I don't have a problem with walking in the room, even if I'm nervous. I can walk in with a confident swagger.
Mm-hmm.
But and I can talk to just about anyone. But it's just those times when I really need to do it for business and to get business, I don't.
So when you're going to talk with on Tuesdays, that could possibly help.
Yeah, that's the hope. Yeah.
I have ideas and I want to spend a little bit of time going through them with you.
Okay.
So book a day and call with me. Or just call me and text me and go, hey, are you available in the next 20 minutes or half hour or whatever? And I'll tell you, I'm not available till this time, and then we'll talk. but I have some ideas. And remind me of that conversation,
All right.
because I want to explore some stuff with you. And it's going to take more than this call to explore those things, but I want to explore some stuff with you. Because you're worth it.
Thank you. And
welcome.
and then, you know, I don't go after the business that I want. You know, like the price ranges. I heard Anna a couple of days ago when she said she was talking about when she talked to the icon and how they reached the icon. So they went after the higher price properties or
Right.
deals in the beginning, nail those, and then to cap, and then, you know, just kind of leveled out and took other deals to reach the icon. And I was like, dang, you know, it was eye-opening for me, because I wanted to do that, but I hadn't necessarily wanted to do it for that reason.
Right.
It's strategic. It's a strategy. And that's
Yeah.
what I loved about it.
Exactly.
Strategy. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's a plan too. It's an actual, oh, okay, this is the plan. And I want that plan. I'm going to go do that plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that too. I really did. I really did.
Craig, you mentioned that you have a hard time telling people what you do for business. I remember when I got into real estate, people always said things like, if you ask other people what they do, they'll in turn ask you what you do. And my question is, do you find that to be true? And two, like, I struggle with that because I don't care what people do.
Because that's not how you define people.
Right. It's not at
Exactly.
all. And
Yeah,
and
and that
sometimes
makes-
people think I come across as aloof or indifferent or
No, I get that.
yeah.
I really do. Because I hear you on that one. But I want to let Craig answer. Do you ask?
Sometimes.
So
Yeah.
do you want to know a cool thing around this?
Yeah.
If you ask somebody, if you tell somebody this, hey, my name's Gina, what's yours? What will you say, Craig?
I'm Craig.
Exactly.
Nice to meet you, Gina.
Nice to meet you too. Hey, my name's Gina Hansen. What's your name?
Craig Leverett.
See, you guide them.
Yeah.
And there's this interesting thing when you first meet somebody, you're telling them how to give you back your answers. So when you do that, think about that. You want both names. And then the next question can be, you know, however it is you want to word it. And it doesn't have to be the next one, but he who asks the questions controls the conversation. So, it's true. It's very, very true. And I did not know how to do conversations. I was a profoundly shy kid, and nobody believes me when I tell them that. But I was so shy that the teachers were always writing notes back to my mom, asking me if I could get my voice tested because they didn't think I could speak. Like they literally did not think I could speak. I was that shy. And so I didn't know how to converse. I didn't know how to hold a conversation. They terrified me. And I'm not talking as a kid all the way through into my 30s. And finally in my 30s, I read a book on how the hell to have a conversation with people because I couldn't do it. And I wrote down a series of questions that I could ask people. And I became really popular just asking people questions. And that's what I learned to do in order to get over that. What do you do for a living? Tell me more about that. That's awesome. Do you live around here? What do you know about, you know? And then I came up with some really weird questions which probably bothered people, but I was really curious. For like a year, I asked people this question. I said, what do you think after I got to know them? Not the first question. I would say, you know, I'm really curious. I'm trying to dive into this because I don't understand it, but I'm trying to come up with a definition for the loss of innocence. So I'm just really been playing with this concept in the back of my head. How do you define the loss of innocence? And it made people, it's such a weird question that it made people really stop and think. And I would, you know, and then it took me a long time and I finally kept with my own definition. But I learned to ask questions that went in the directions that I was interested in, which is what I still do because I'm interested in that. And Trevor, the whole thing of what you do bugged me so much that for the longest time when people asked me what I did for a living, what do you do? I would tell people I'm an artist because they didn't know how to deal with that. And it took the conversation a different direction because I don't care.
It's true.
Yeah, I don't care. So, by the way, my definition of the loss of innocence is when you finally wake up to the fact that someone who purports to love you does not have your best interests at heart. And I believe that is a loss of innocence. That's what I believe personally. That's my definition for the loss. So, but it was about a year of asking everybody I know, maybe longer, of asking everybody I know to just because it interested me. I'm curious, All right. Any other so come up with your questions, Craig. Come up with a few questions to ask people. Yeah, and you can just take I used to recruit like crazy. Okay, I kind of still do. But I used a pattern in my head because I always talk forward, family. Oh God, what is it? Organizations you belong to, recreation, dreams. So in order
Nice.
to work, yeah, so that's forward. But that didn't really work for me. So I would do this. I would ask people, the real estate agents, but I would go, what you used to do before that? Like, tell me what you used to do and what you like about it or hate. And that will give me clues about the personality. And so that was the past. Okay, so tell me about what you do now. Now we're in the present, and I can ask questions. It's going to come out naturally. Oh, I do. Wow. Okay, so are you a team? Are you a solo? How does this work? Do you have a niche? All about the present. And then after I kind of know that, so tell me what's down the road for you? Like, what direction you going? Where you want to be? And we talk about the future. And I want people future focused anyway. When I was working with them for that, I need them future focused. So that was the trick that I used in order to kind of give me some fodder on a conversation of how to hold it. I didn't know. So, okay. Anything else on this, and then we'll wrap up.
Craig, I just want to tell you that I kind of do the same thing. And I'm not always good about saying, hey, I'm a realtor, or I do this, that, or the other thing. And asking for business and things like that. When I do, I found it a little bit easier for me to, in that conversation where you're just talking, and do, oh yeah, by the way, I'm a realtor. If you know anybody, you need to buy anything, whatever. And I kind of do it more jokingly. And I don't think that's probably necessarily the best way to do it, but it's least out there.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. It's a different way of doing it. So I used to tell people we used to wear my boss in Virginia made me wear name tags, which I hate. So I was like, screw the whole name tag thing. So I had all these great things. I had Game Changer for a name tag, but I also had Team Leader Extraordinaire. And so for real estate agents, when people I am the best flipping real estate agent you will ever meet. And it just was a fun way of, or real estate agent extraordinaire or whatever, but it's also in how you say it. Because you can't really go along, you know what I mean? You can't be like, I'm the best real estate agent you ever met. But there's just ways to present it. There really, really is and it doesn't have to be in your face. It doesn't have to be that. It just can be best real estate agent you ever met or something. I don't know, whatever. Have fun with it. But have fun with it because that's what I think attracts people to us also. Like when I text people and they come back and they won't respond, I will literally send you a picture of a penguin nodding his head. Like if I ask you a yes or no question and I want you to say yes and you don't respond, for the longest time I sent people a picture of a penguin nodding his head yes, and I just in a little tiny letter said penguin says yes. And I would get people to respond to that. I'm just like, come on, man. So be you, don't be, if you're not weird or whatever, then don't be. But if you've got a twinkle in your eye, and I know, Mr. Leverett, you have a twinkle in your eye, then have a twinkle in your eye, because people, that is very appealing and attractive. It's really appealing and attractive when someone gives you a twinkle and does something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, all right, here's the deal. You have homework if you want it. You have homework if you don't want it, and you don't have homework if you don't want it. You don't have homework if you want it. So here you go. You have homework. Picture, I did this morning and I really liked it. Picture yourself walking into the door of a movie theater, big double doors of a movie theater, and walking into the movie theater and then into the actual theater, going all the way down and sitting in the front row, maybe the second row, but I sat in the front row. And then picture the curtains opening up, and on stage is your wizard, your sage, the biggest, greatest, bestest you, however you want to think of it, but that person, that is the either what you want to be, what you aspire to, what you attain to, or the best version of yourself that there is. So picture that up on stage. Then picture another person walking up on stage that is either a version of you, maybe a version of you younger, older, or somebody that embodies a trait. This is what I did, is somebody that embodies a trait that I really admire in myself. And picture who they are, and then do that 3 times. So I brought 3 people up on stage that embody 3 separate traits that I really admire about myself. And my traits that I happen to really just personally admire about myself is I'm smart and I will push things through. I'm stubborn. I'm going to accomplish things. And then the third one is I'm kind and loving and giving. So those are my 3 really good traits that I wanted to bring up there. So I brought my 3 people up there, and then bring up 3 more people one at a time that are 3 traits that you have that you don't like so much about yourself. So for me, my traits that I don't like so much about myself, I can be a Grinch. I actually brought the Grinch up for mine. I can be Grinchy. I can be like, leave me the hell alone, I'm Grinchy. I can also turn into an angry person who is, I flipping want you to do this, dang, do it, you know, and I can turn into that, and I can be selfish. So those are 3 traits that I don't like that I have in myself. When you have all 7 people up there on stage, what do they want to tell you? What is the thing that they want to teach you about you? And just let them tell you what it is. And then when you have all of that from their lessons, from all of them, the 3 things you don't like about yourself, the 3 things so much, the 3 things that you do, and your sage, wisdom, greater you, whatever that character person is, say thank you and thank each one of them, and then leave your movie theater. So that's your homework. So any questions on homework? Movie theater, walk in, sage, 3 characters you like about yourself, 3 characters of traits you don't care about as much about yourself, even if they're tiny. Thank all, what are their lessons that they want to teach you? Thank all of them, leave your movie theater, close the door behind you. Now, here's the thing. I really want to work on the confidence because I want you guys to see yourselves the way that I see you, and I want to see me the way you guys see me. It's not a one-way street and all that. It's definitely we're definitely on a highway here. Okay. And the thing with confidence that I keep on running across, it doesn't remove fear. What it does is make you stronger. And the reason why it doesn't remove fear, it just makes you stronger than the fear, is because number 6 on the list, you need to keep on doing things that scare you. And so all it does is make you stronger than the fear and keeps on teaching you that you're stronger than it, because the next thing you're going to do is something else outside your comfort zone that is also going to make you nervous or scared or, outside of your comfort zone, and want you to like a little bit. And as you go into it, and with trepidation and all those kinds of things, but the confidence is what makes you stronger than that. Bless you. And we're all strong, and we all see it in everybody else. And we are going to see it in ourselves also. It's time for us to take our mirrors that we reflect back. We reflect ourselves back to other people. It's time for us to reflect other people and ourselves back to us. So I'm super curious as to what your homework shows you. If you guys want to, text me and let me know, or give me a call and let me know if you want to over the weekend. It's totally cool, because I am curious. I really, really am. All right, you guys. Actually, have amazing weeks. Exactly. And if you want to, if you want to go do this and go look up at the sky, you cannot not have confidence when you bring your body posture up and you're big and you take up your space, because this is a world that we can take up our space in. And the world wants that from us also. And it sees us in it already. All right. Twinkle in your eye, Craig. Go kick some. Trevor, don't do anything but put your toes in the sand.
That's all right. I'll see y'all in a week.
Exactly. We want to see you come back tanned and maybe a little burnt up here, sweetie.
Oh, if I can help it for sure. Peeling. I want to be peeling.
Oh, no,
I
that's
don't want to be
horrible.
peeling, but
Unless you got
Man.
somebody to rub body oil on you.
y'all have an amazing week and lots of love and support. And we'll see you back.
Yep.
Travels.
Great weeks. Love you all. Talk to you guys on, well, I'll see you Monday night and I'll talk to you Tuesday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.